Candlepin Stars and Strikes is brought to you by the Thompson family of dealerships in Nashua, New Hampshire, and by Tri-State Megabucks and the New Hampshire State Lottery, helping New Hampshire schools one ticket at a time.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Candlepin Stars and Strikes from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dick Lutz with Mike Morin. It is week 2 of our 5th ladder series of the season. We're looking for our 5th participant in the Tournament of Champions at the end of the year. Last week, a very tight match. Joe Stella beating Ed Tringali, 357 to 352.
And he will face a man who's also a very seasoned bowler, but only one television appearance in his entire life, Bart Maderios, who's a great friend of Candlepin bowling.
Let's introduce you to the 2 contestants for this afternoon's match. First, last week's winner, our number 4 seed from Winthrop, Massachusetts. Let's welcome back Joe Stella.
Joe's average 125, high single is 201, 486 his high is triple. He bowls at East Boston's Central Park Lanes.
And as mentioned, 357 to 352, his margin of victory over Ed Tringali last week. Joe rolled a 640 in the roll-off to earn the number 4 seed, rolling a 641 in the roll-off and earning the number 3 seed. Bart Maderios from Plaistow, New Hampshire.
Brought a lot of fans with him today. Average 122, high single 197. His high triple is 474. Bowls out of Pilgrim Lanes, of course, as well as some leagues at the Bowlerama in Portsmouth.
Let's get right to it. It's Joe Stella and Bart Maderios when we come back to Leda Lanes for Candlepin Stars and Strikes. There you see the 5 bowlers that make up this ladder series, with the eventual winner moving on to the Tournament of Champions at the end of the year. Last week, Joe Stella defeating Ed Tringali, setting up this afternoon's match with Stella and Bart Maderios, and it'll be Joe Stella first to bowl here at Leda Lanes in Nashua for Candlepin Stars and Strikes, and we're ready to go. There you get a good look at Joe, and we are underway. Off the head pin, but he has a spare opportunity, not an easy shot, but a makeable shot for Joe Stella to start out. Joe from Winthrop, 43 years old. Great shot to start the match.
And he'll get a round of applause from his opponent today, Bart Maderios, who you'll see in just a second.
Oh, right through the middle, just 3-pin fill. Joe's a UPS courier driver. He and Debbie married for 14 years. 3 children, Cheryl, Kara, and Joe. Nice 10 box, given what he had to work with. Now Bart Maderios. Hall of Famer Bart Maderios. We were at the ceremony when Bart was inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Actually, he received the President's Cup, so I'm not sure that that is technically a Hall of Fame induction, but it's a special award called the President's Cup.
Oh, then I apologize for that mistake. I remember we were there that night.
Yes.
10 box for Bart.
I don't think there's any doubt that at some point he'll be inducted into one of the 2 categories of player, competitive ability, and then there's another category for extraordinary service as well.
Well, he fits the bill for extraordinary service, doesn't he?
He does indeed. He does indeed. And there's a separate category, Dick, President's Cup. And there have been some great bowlers who've won that, including John Valenti, my friend who writes for the Boston Globe, Bob Perella, of course, of Paramount Bowling, Tommy Ulsta. I was at the ceremony when he got that back in '87. And Bart Maderios, our good friend here at 2002.
And Bart with a spare in the second frame. Joe Stella working on an open frame, a 9-pin drop.
We have, as you know, a microphone set at the table where the bowlers sit, and Bart is a fairly vocal individual, so you'll hear him shouting encouragement to Joe Stella, even though he's bowling against him, and that's just the nature of Bart Maderios, who is a coach for the junior program at Pilgrim Lanes.
9 box for Joe. Joe's been on Candlepin Stars and Strikes 9 times over the years. He was on the old Channel 5 show another 9 times, so he's no stranger to the television lights.
He just went and used a house ball in his first shot here just a second ago. Talked to you about that last week. Now he's back to his own balls.
We have $825 in our triple strike jackpot. Should one of our bowlers be fortunate enough to roll 3 strikes back to back. Bart off the head pin on that spare fill. He puts just 4 in it. Picks 2 out of the other side. Bart's an operations supervisor for 2 companies, Northern Utilities in Portsmouth and Bay State Gas in Lawrence. That's going to be a 6 box for Bart. He and his wife, Mary Lynn, have been married for 28 years. It's a good first ball. Their daughter, Darcy, is 25, a graduate of Virginia Tech and marrying in October. Katie's 23, and the son, Andrew, is 19 and a competitive bowler himself.
Was hoping that he would make the top 5 as well to bowl against his father, but he was in probably about the top 25 or so. Didn't make it. You have to be in the top 5 to get on the show.
That'll be a 9 box for Bart. A 1-pin lead for Joe Stella over Bart Maderios. 4 boxes into the match. We'll get to some of your cards and letters and emails. We got bunches of them.
There's the 2-4-5 for Joe Stella with some wood way off to the side. Won't be a factor, or it shouldn't be. And he pops the 2-pin right out of the 3 of them there.
One of many correspondence that we get from our fans around New England inquiring about the whereabouts of Irene McGowan. Longtime faithful attendee of our taping, Sean Galvin from Weymouth, writes in and inquires about Irene. We haven't heard much about Irene lately. We heard that she was well, just unable to get here. And we miss her a lot. Hope all is well with Irene. Would love to hear from her or anyone who knows about her well-being. But thanks to Sean Galvin in Weymouth.
What a shot.
In.
He picked up the 6, 7, 10, leaving the 4. Wow. All right, only 1 mark for each of our bowlers early on. Bart Maderios looking for his 2nd here in the 5th frame. Continues to go right of the head pin. He, being a left-handed bowler, is going from left to right, and he's missing the head pin a bit to the right.
We talked a while back on one of our shows. There's a nice shot by Bart. About bowlers, Candlepin bowlers who bowl with a ball in each hand.
Oh, sure.
For balance. A lost art. No, you don't see it very often. Used to see it more often when I was a kid. Here's Bart filling the spare, and it's a half Worcester. Joe Haberlin from Amesbury, Massachusetts, writes in, while I was watching, we posed the question about people bowling with the extra ball in their non-bowling hand. I bowl in a league at Leo's Super Bowl in Amesbury with my stepdaughter's grandfather, Leo Branconier, and he's the only person I know who bowls in this manner. Leo's a wonderful man who is retired now but still serves as a call firefighter for the city of Amesbury. It seems to work for him, as the week after your question he bowled a 379. Not
nice.
Too shabby. Just thought you'd like to know there are still some people out there who still hold the extra ball. Keep up the good work. Joe Haberlin from Amesbury, Massachusetts. Well, haven't seen anybody do that in a while.
No, certainly not on our show. I tell you what, we have a treat, Dick, for our viewers. One of the highest scoring all-time bowlers on television is going to join us. I'm not going to say who it is. You might be able to guess. Maybe not.
Well, I had a 141 last year. Does that qualify?
That would not be close to being high enough. But a bowler that we get a lot of mail about, and we had no idea he's back in the area. We're going to talk to him at the beginning of the second string.
I'm looking forward to it. Joe with a 10 box. So we're not going to tell him who it is. We're going to tease him a little bit, huh?
That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
And if they don't behave, we might make a way to the 3rd string. You folks be good out there.
Joe crossed over to Brooklyn and leaves the 9 and 10 with a whole bunch of wood. Someone will yell out, play of the wood. They did. I just heard it. Always a wise guy in the crowd. This certainly looks doable, doesn't it? Any number of different ways.
I would say.
There it is. Spare for Joe Stella. 2nd mark of the string.
As we take a look at Bart Maderios, who, as we mentioned, is a coach at Pilgrim Lanes, we'd like to offer our condolences to Sil Angelotti, who is the owner of Pilgrim Lanes. His companion of 21 years passed away just recently, Joan Roberts. So, Sil, we send our love and support out. You're a good man, good family man. We're sorry that you lost your best friend, Joan Roberts. And we will see you soon. Hope you're feeling better. And a 10 for Bart Maderios.
A good 10 box given his poor first ball.
But he'll need a mark now to stay ahead of Joe Stella, who put a spare in the 8th box. Having trouble hitting the head pin here still for Bart Maderios early on. His first television appearance in, well, I think about 14 years. He was on Channel 5 once. Doubles with the great Peter Flynn. They won that match, no surprise. Two powerful left-handers, Bart Maderios and Peter Flynn.
Nice shot by Bart.
Nice 10, huh?
Good 10 box. Good strong. Two good 10 boxes for Bart. Watch this shot. No wood to help out. He took it all by himself. Joe Stella working on a spare in the 8th frame. Fills it with 6. And a 3-pin lead now for Joe. I want to acknowledge a note we received from James Madden from Methuen, Massachusetts. Mr. Madden, thank you very much for your note. We appreciate hearing from you.
Good 10, Joe. Good 10.
There's a 10 box for Joe. Low scoring, but close first string.
Well, that seems to be the track record of Joe Stella, doesn't it? After he tied Dave Dupuis and had to go into overtime about a year and a half ago. He only won by just a handful of pins last week over Ed Tringali. So Joe Stella seems to thrive in the close matches, although I'm sure he'd like it to be otherwise.
Sorry, that's all right. Grab a couple hands, Joe. Grab a couple. Come on.
So he'll receive an 8 as one pin was taken out after the ball hit the gutter.
So 101 first string for Joe Stella. Bart will need a mark to take the lead. Missed the head pin and leaves the 4 horsemen on the left side.
Again, missing to the right-hand side of the head pin on lane 34.
Oh, there's the 4 pin still standing. And the 4 pin still stands, so it's a 989. He'll need a mark for 100.
As you watch this, the annual fundraiser at Pilgrim Lanes is going on. Let's and I are there with a lot of the professional bowlers, including the man you're watching now, Bart Maderios, as we try to raise some money for a big Canadian bowling excursion next month, the kids at Pilgrim Lanes.
Bart with a spare and a chance to take the lead after 1. Bart's active in the performing arts. He enjoys attending plays at the Seacoast Repertory Theater, builds the sets for local high school plays every spring. Sounds like Bart, doesn't it?
He just loves to give to the community, especially to the young people.
Good first ball, put 7, put 8 in the spare, and a 107 first string for Bart Maderios, and a 6-pin lead over Joe Stella after 1 from Leda Lanes in Nashua. You are watching Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
Does the man to my right look at all familiar to you folks? Well, you haven't seen him for a long time because he hasn't lived around here, but we get more mail about this man, Paul Berger, than any bowler in recent past. Nice to have you back, Paul.
It's great to be back, and it's a real compliment that the folks still remember me.
Well, how could they forget you? I mean, you've done one of the very rare things on televised Candlepin bowling. As far as I know, you were the last man to bowl 500.
Yeah, it was a great day. As I said to some of the fans here, I've still got the tape, and
so do I, by the way. They send it to me.
It was a great thrill. Great thrill.
That was on Channel 5, and
yes, it was.
How long ago was that?
Back in '92, actually.
Sure. Now, as I understand, you've been out of the area. What have you been up to in the last 13 years?
Well, actually, I bowled until about '97, '98. I went to Colorado in 2000. I'm now back, and I'm thinking about retaking up the game in the spring.
Well, it would be great to have you back on our show.
I'd love to do it.
And with all your years in Colorado, I see you wore the right sweatshirt today. I don't know if folks can see it.
The Red Sox under.
The camera's over there. He's got the Red Sox shirt on.
And the Patriots.
And the Patriots. So there you go.
I never lost my feeling for the home teams.
Paul Berger, we hope to see you on the show. Thank you for joining us. Congratulations. 13 years later after that 500 triple.
Great. Thanks a lot.
All right, our pleasure.
Thanks to Mike Morin and Paul Berger, and now we're ready to get back to action with Bart Maderios at Leda Lanes as we start string number 2. Bart's first ball is a good one. Mike got a nice note here from one of our favorites, Sonny Belandry.
Oh, Sonny, yes.
Sonny writes, received your letter. I wrote him a note a while back. There's a spare for Bart to start out. Sonny, one of our great fans of Candlepin bowling, one of the regulars whose health doesn't allow him to attend the tapings anymore, and he's sorry he can't be here. Sends his best to you. He never liked me very much.
Well, he likes to tease you a lot, which means he likes you a lot.
We know that.
He's a good man.
Sonny says, I just hope when I go to heaven there'll be some bowling to help keep me busy. I'll always remember all of you, especially you, Mike.
Well,
Sonny, we miss you.
We do indeed. I was talking to Arthur, who is generally seated in the section very close to Sonny, and did convey the news that he's not doing as well as we'd like him to, and certainly I don't know what his prospects are, but we're certainly hopeful for you, Sonny. We'd love to have you come back and join us again, because Dick misses the ribbing that you gave him.
I do. I certainly do. Candlepin bowling needs more fans like Sonny Belandry.
You're right about that. There's a 10 for Joe Stella, falling a few pins behind, 6 to be exact in the first match.
Good first ball. Will that 5-pin go? It will. Will it take anything else? The 6. Will the 6 fall over into the 10? It will not. But a spare opportunity here for Joe Stella. A lot of wood. Piece of wood well out in front, and then there's another piece of wood right on the 6-pin. So it's pretty makeable shot for Joe. He's going to make that one right there. Oh, the 10-pin is still standing. I thought for sure when that ball left his hand there was no way he would miss it.
And I think he suspected that could be the case the way he walked up to the foul line and had a look at it.
That'll be a 9-box. You can never count them over until they're over.
And that did look like it was a gimme shot, didn't it?
Wow. Bart right on the head pin. Tough shot here.
Have you ever met anybody whose enthusiasm for the game is as contagious as Bart's?
He loves it.
Gives it his time, as we pointed out, not only in bowling, but in other community events having to do with theater.
He enjoys being around people.
Well, he does.
He's a people person.
He's a good man.
That'll be a 10-box. Getting to some more of your emails. Hello from Milton, Mass. My name is Laurie. I've been bowling for 23 years out of Lucky Strike Lanes in Dorchester. I have 2 small children. They love to watch the bowling on TV every weekend. My oldest son even tries to keep score on a piece of paper. I used to watch the Channel 5 shows as well. Just want to say keep up the great work, and hopefully one day I'll be on TV for the first time. I was at the state tournaments when I was small. Don Gillis from Channel 5 was there. It was great to see him. Laurie, thanks for your email and for watching Candlepin Stars and Strikes and for getting your youngsters involved in the game as well.
As you read the note, you couldn't see it on camera, but Bart picked up one of his bowling balls, held it up to his ear, and shook it as if to say, is there something loose in here? Crowd enjoyed that.
Get the score corrected for you on the computer.
Well, darn computers, you know. Can't trust them anymore.
Spread eagle for Joe Stella. Take 2 on the right.
We need you right here. Come on.
Joe drives for UPS out of South Boston. Courier driver.
An 8-box.
By the way, I have to compliment Joe. I think Joe, we kind of tease him a little bit about the fact that if anybody's ever going to be tardy or just a little bit late, it would be him. He was actually here a little ahead of time today for our taping session. So, Joe, I take back everything I ever said about you. That was nice.
Good shot. Ooh, it was right there. So Joe will be open through the first 4 of the second string. Bart has 1 spare and the lead. As we go to the break, that's a 7 box for Joe and a lead of 17 pins for Bart Maderios over Joe Stella as we near the halfway point of the match. We continue from Leda Lanes in Nashua with Candlepin Stars and Stripes. Bart Maderios ready to go, and there you get to see some of the crowd in attendance here as Bart's on lane 34. Good first ball, breaks up the split. The 10-pin still stands. Piece of wood rolls next to it. Bart with his left-handed shot will be coming at it with a big angle. And he will make it.
Being a left-hander yourself, have you ever felt that you had an advantage or a disadvantage being
more lane to use going left to right, sure.
Do you feel it's a help or not in general?
I think so, yeah. Bart's trying to get them all, and the 5-pin still stands. Put 9 in the spare.
Now he's got some wood in front of it, but it's at an angle, so it's got
to hit the red stripe of that wood right now. That's it.
Thank you, Coach Lutz.
2 spares in a row for Bart Maderios. He'll be shooting for some bonus money. Watch Joe Stella on lane 34. He throws a good first ball. Chips up the 7-pin. Breaks up the split.
I think that was a house ball, which is considerably lighter than the balls that he has. And it would seem to me you just don't get as much bang for your buck with a house ball.
But he picks the 5-pin off the 8, leaves the 8-pin standing, and has a 9 box to show for his effort.
When you're as good as these guys are, they pretty much know what they're doing.
I love to use those dice balls that Ross Wheeler at Fast Lanes gave me last year, allowing me to beat you handily in our head-to-head match.
You would have beaten anybody handily that day, by the way. I didn't take it personally. You got a 141 game, and I was in my usual, 85 or something.
And there's a 9 box for Joe. I mentioned last week that I started practicing at Fast Lanes, and I was so happy to see the young people involved in bowling the day that my brother and I went out there. There was a big birthday party going on. It must have been 20 kids under 10 years old, and they love the bumpers that they put up in because kids today are so tuned to instant gratification. Here's another mark for Bart.
So am I, by the way.
Yeah.
That's bonus money for Bart Maderios.
Yep.
50 bucks.
Watch it again. Tough shot. He's going to make it. I promise you. There it is. Back to live action.
Well, regardless of who wins today, a very tough customer next week. It's Chris Sargent. One of the all-time greats in this game. And then the week after that, it still doesn't get any easier because it'll be Sean Baker.
You talk about the instant gratification and putting the bumpers in the gutters for the little kids who now when they throw the ball down the alley, they're going to get some pins down. And
sure.
They love it. They get so happy about knocking pins over. They don't worry about the ball going in the gutter and getting 0. Kids don't like to get 0.
No, nobody does.
They like to get the pins, and they just had such a great time. And then there was pizza and ice cream, and it was just a great atmosphere. I was just really happy for those kids enjoying it. Happy for Ross Wheeler at Fast Lanes because there was so much activity at his bowling center in Stowe. It was just great.
Yeah, they're like Ed Tringali last week, missing some easy single pins, or easy for these guys anyway. And there's
still standing
2 chances at the 5-pin and not 1 mark this string for Joe Stella. It falls further behind.
Up. Take the 10-pin. Take the 7 then. Make a pretty shot here. The crowd. There it is, Joe. There it is, Joe.
You can hear Bart rooting Joe on with that. And that will be a 9 box for Joe. A 44-pin lead for Bart Maderios with 2 boxes remaining in the second string. And a good first ball for Bart.
Hitting the head pin with more consistency this game and leaving makeable spares and then picking them up has been his key to success for this game.
Oh, he just missed that one.
Well, he's always loose, but he's really He's really being playful with the crowd right now.
And a 9 box. He's at 117.
Average 122, so he should hit that this string after a sub-average 107 first game.
Missed the head pin. Got a great break, and they're still wobbling. The 1 and 3 still stand. Bart has 4 marks in the string thus far. Make it 5 marks in the string.
Lucky he had that piece of wood, because
Yeah,
it
sure
probably
is.
would not have gone down for him. Gonna have a monster lead going into the third game.
Good first ball. Will they all go? The 5 still stands. Put 9 in the spare. And a 136 second string for Bart Maderios. Frequent contributors Robert and Phyllis Walsh from Fitchburg, Massachusetts sent an email, Mike. They wanted to pass along a 99th birthday wish for us to read on the air. Her name is Lena Perna from Ashby, Massachusetts. She's their oldest living resident. Turned 99 on January 20th. An avid fan of the show. And for the past 20 or so years, she's donated a tree from her farm to the USS Constitution for the holiday season.
No
Isn't that
kidding.
nice?
Oh, wow.
So thanks for that note to Robert and Phyllis Walsh, and happy birthday to Lena Perna from Ashby, Massachusetts. Good shot by Joe. Joe's going to have a mountain to climb in the third string. And that'll be an 8 box and an 88 second string for Joe, and a 54 pin lead for Bart Maderios after 2. We're coming back to Leda Lanes in Nashua for string number 3 with Bart Maderios leading Joe Stella 243 to 189, a 54 pin advantage for Bart Maderios. It's Candlepin Stars and Strikes from Leda Lanes in Nashua. Don't go away. Joe Stella will bowl first in string number 3, and he is trailing by 54 pins to Bart Maderios. Joe needs to put some marks together. Good first ball. The 1 and 3 still standing. You hear Bart Maderios in the background encouraging his opponent. Here's the spare for Joe Stella to start the third string. He could use a bunch of them. 54 pins, not insurmountable.
Well, that's a good start for sure. Needs to put a bunch of them together, though, to even have a chance.
Missed the head pin there. Couldn't. Well, he did break up the split and has the same 1-3 leave that he had in the first box. He converted it in the first box. Can he do it in this one? He does. Back-to-back marks for Joe Stella to start out the third string as he tries to eat away at Bart Maderios' 54 pin lead.
375 is the cash amount for our runner-up today, and the winner will then get to face Chris Sargent. That's your reward. You get to bowl one of the best bowlers in the game, Chris Sargent, next weekend.
Well, Bart with a 9-pin drop tries to match Joe Stella's spare, and he does.
Nicely done. Right around the piece of wood.
Great shot by Bart Maderios, answering Joe Stella's first box mark. Good first ball right in the pocket, leaves. Will he knock over that 7-pin? No, it still stands. Puts 7 in the mark. Tough shot here. Got the 6, 7, 10. The question is, play the wood on the left and try to scramble it, or go after, try to split it. Look at this! Oh!
What a shot.
What a shot by Bart Maderios.
High-fiving his son, Andrew.
Watch it again. He made it pure, too, didn't he? That pin comes all the way across and
That's
takes
right.
it. Yep.
Beautiful. That's got to be a bit disheartening for Joe Stella, who put a couple spares up himself, and now he finds himself even further behind with a bad fill.
4-pin fill for Joe. I guess that would take the starch out of you, wouldn't
Oh, you're not kidding.
it? That's a great spare. That's really classic. Bart Maderios.
He's giving a clinic for all his students back at Pilgrim Lanes. I guess it would be embarrassing to come out and bowl awful.
Bud Ward is here today. Bud's from Worcester.
Oh.
Did I ever tell you that I was from Worcester?
Yes,
I
every
have.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
He calls me at home and tells me.
Oh,
Just the
must
object
have
pin.
Bud handed me a note before the taping. Thought you'd like to know in the early 40s, I was tutored by the inventor of Candlepin bowling, John J. Muncie.
No way.
Who at the time was the manager of the YMCA Alleys in Worcester. He then introduced me into the Worcester City League at the age of 14 as a spare fill-in bowler at the Recreation Alleys, which is where I used to bowl as a kid. That's from Bud Ward from Worcester. Went on to bowl for the Central Alleys for a number of years. That's at the other end of town in Worcester.
I mean, that would,
Bud comes to tapings often.
That'd be like in baseball being coached by Abner Doubleday or something. I mean, when you think about it, this is the guy that invented our sport. Great story. Well, Bart gives up a pin here through 3.
He
But
can afford to give up a pin.
he can indeed.
That's a good, after a little bit of a skip lob, he hit the pocket, the 1-2 pocket. 5-pin moves off spot a little bit. 3, 5, 6 for Bart. There they go.
Kind of fortunate those 3 were kind of clumped together.
So we go to the break. Bart Maderios has a big lead over Joe Stella as we return to Candlepin Stars and Strikes from Leda Lanes in Nashua. Joe Stella ready to bowl, lane 34, Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dick Lutz with Mike Morin. Joe trailing by 53 pins plus a ball. Dick Lutz with Mike Morin. Happy to have you with us for Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Kevin LaFawn's our director. Keith Webb is our engineer. Craig Amabello, Larry Haber, and Tanya Perry, our camera crew. Chuck Lothrop's on replay. Joe just missing another tough shot. Kristen Doobie's on audio. Steve Kenny's on graphics. Kate Nichols is our scorer here at Leda Lanes, keeping our big gallery informed as to where this match stands, and it stands in the firm control of Bart Maderios right now.
Joe Stella was our top seed in the 2000 Tournament of Champions, and that one was won by Chris Bover, 359 to 343. Back about, wow, has it been 5 years since Chris Bover won? It has. He's won the men's doubles NBA state tournament back in 1996 with Chuck Pinzella. A name that perhaps some of you folks may recall. Won the NBA 3-man team event in '89 with Craig Holbrook and Mike Fish, and he was, as we mentioned, the WCBC Rookie of the Year in '88-'89. But not a good day for Joe Stella. Bart Maderios is just cruising along right now.
Got another email from Worcester. Mitch Hilo, H-I-L-O-W. Mitch, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I've been watching your show for quite some time with my wife and enjoy it immensely. On one of your telecasts, we mentioned a high string that was bowled on the Maples in 1948 on a Tuesday night Industrial League session at the 20th Century Alleys. That was Dennis Mack's old place in Worcester. I was bowling against a fellow by the name of Paul Agerholm. I bowled a 133. Paul hit an amazing 187. All legit, no lobbing or fouls. I didn't know where to put myself. The following Thursday at the Bowling Green on Central Street, another bowler had a 182 against my 126. The ribbing I got was so bad, the Telegram Gazette sports page had a note that if anyone wanted to score high, they should contact me for a match. I'm going on 79 and run a league comprised of seniors from the Greendale Retirement Club, almost 1,500 strong in Worcester. Keep up the good work, Mitch Hilo. Mitch, thanks very much. Nice to hear from you.
Living history from our viewers. We thank you for that.
From the Candlepin Mecca, Worcester, Massachusetts.
Yeah, well, it really is.
The birthplace of Candlepin bowling.
About 125 years ago or so. So a very new variation of the game of 10 pins, which has been around since Egyptian times, as I imagine a lot of you know. And there are dozens of variations on this continent and around the world.
This one well in control for Bart Maderios as we head down the home stretch.
There's the half Worcester left side punched out by Joe Stella, and he only gets 2 more pins.
Chris Sargent waiting in the wings, our number 2 seed, with Sean Baker, the number 1 seed. Standing by. Joe having trouble. Punching out a 5 box.
And he probably can't get out of here fast enough. Not a fun day for Joe. It was a close match last week. And Bart Maderios, although not bowling extraordinarily, is bowling pretty well and easily going to win this one.
And he's getting loose for next week.
You got to bring it all when you're playing Chris Sargent, and then you got to bring as much, if not more, for Sean Baker the week after if you survive next week.
Bart gave it a run.
See a lot of body English. He's a very outgoing man. You don't need us to tell you that.
8 box for Bart.
Bart, of course, runs leagues on Thursday and Sunday at Pilgrim Lanes and bowls in the Men's Classic League at Boulder Portsmouth with his son Andrew, who is here today, 19 years old, bowling for 23 years.
9-pin drop for Bart. There's the 6-pin, and there goes the 6-pin. And that just about does it. That does, in fact, do it. Mathematically, it's impossible. We'll watch the bowlers finish out. So Bart Maderios will advance to take on Chris Sargent next week. Joe can't buy a break. Started out the 3rd string with marks back-to-back, trying to cut into the big lead that Bart Maderios had built up, but then Bart answered with 2 marks of his own. And it's been all Maderios ever since.
As Joe puts a couple together, he is not going to even hit 300. There's a strike.
Now you're going to stop.
Nope. $10 for Joe and a 101 3rd string and a 3-string total of 290.
He'll take home $375 for his share of today's bowl. There's a
Bart
2,
puts
Phil.
a deuce in the spare.
Taking a little harassment now from the crowd. And that was a hard-fought 4-7 box, leaving him at 98 through 9.
Taken to task by Kurt Levesque of Deerfield for a word I used on one of our earlier tapings when I was describing one of the 5-pin leaves by one of our bowlers who was going after a triple strike. I suppose I could have said darn. I used a stronger word, but Kurt Levesque took me to task for it, and I apologize to anyone I may have offended.
I think the only one you offended was Kurt Levesque.
I think I probably,
quite honestly. If you want to hear this man talk, go to lunch with him sometime.
So Bart finishes up with a spare. He's at 108 plus a ball. 7-pin fill. It's a 115. 3rd string for Bart. 3-string total of 358 to Joe Stella's 290. Bart Maderios will advance. We'll come back to talk to our bowlers right after this. From Leda Lanes in Nashua, it's Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Bart Maderios defeats Joe Stella. The final score 358 to 290. Joe Stella is here with us. First, the runner-up bonus money for $375 plus $50 in bonus money last week. You're down 50 pins going into the 3rd string. You throw a couple of marks to start the 3rd string. It looks like you might have him on the run, and then he answers with a couple of marks of his own, and it kind of takes the wind out of your sails at that point, doesn't it?
Oh, I was gone. I was gone in the 2nd string. I was all done. This is the worst I bowled. I can't remember the last time I bowled this bad.
How much you willing to pay us not to show it?
You're right. You're right. I can't believe it. I'm in a shock right now. I really am.
What can you do during the course of a match? We talked last week about making adjustments during the course of a match. When you feel that you're really not bowling the way you're capable of bowling, are there any special things that you can do? You talked about using house balls. You talked about adjusting your approach. What else can you do mentally to change the way things are going?
Nothing to do today. This was the worst. I can't even remember. This is terrible. I'm in a shock. You know, I'm in a coma right now. 290s, like I can bowl that blindfolded. I can't believe it, especially on these alleys.
Well, you've bowled well on the show before. We know that you're capable of better than that. It's just an aberration, and we'll see you again, I'm sure, back again on Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
Thanks. Take care.
Joe Stella, our runner-up here this afternoon, and you can tell it was not Joe's day, and he'll be back again on Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
Now, for sure.
The bonus ball contest. We have $10 in the bonus ball jackpot because we had a winner last week. Let's pull out a card and see if we can get Bart Maderios to give away $10 to Raymond Pino of Derry. Bart, he wants you to knock over 8 pins. And let's see if we can do that with the bonus ball contest. And Bart Maderios for Ray Pino of Derry. We're looking for an 8. And we get a 6, so it's a consolation prize from N&R Trophies in Winchendon, Massachusetts, as we get ready for Bart Maderios to come in between us here. Bart, come on over. Congratulations to you on $358. You had $50 in bonus money and $50 for having the high string in the match. And as we are talking right now, going on at Pilgrim Lanes in Haverhill, the Rockin' Bowl, and I'm probably beating Mike Moran's pants off right now as we speak, but we'll find out a little later on.
That was cold.
But Bart, of course, is one of the driving forces behind the Rockin' Bowl, and talk a little bit about that. What's going on right now as we're speaking?
Well, this is our big fundraiser for the kids. We take we're going to have about 85 to 90 kids going to Canada, and we need it takes funds to do. We need to raise about $40,000, and with the help of you two guys and WNDS, it helps us out to make that Rockin' Bowl a success. The kids get to bowl with professional bowlers, bowl against the pros, bowl with the pros, and just have a great time with a lot of gifts and prizes that we give away. Hundreds of dollars of prizes that we're going to be giving away that day, and just a fun morning.
You deal with kids all the time at Candlepin Bowling. What is the status of the game as far as these kids that you're dealing with, and you see a bright future for it?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the kids are the future, and I'm doing everything I can. There's a few of us that are doing a lot with the kids. We've got 120 kids on a Saturday morning at Pilgrim Lanes. Leo's Super Bowl up in Amesbury. They've got a wonderful program. I know Kevin Cormier out in the western part of the state. He's doing great
as well.
Leader Lanes has a huge program here. We need to keep these programs going because the kids, they want to bowl, and it's a safe, fun place for the kids to be.
Let's talk a little bit about your bowling today. I mean, you must have been really juiced up. It's been over a decade since you've been on television. So I could tell you were just chomping at the bit to get out there.
Well, yes, I was. I'm just real excited to be here on the other side of the camera. I've been on cheering everybody on, and now I finally get the chance to make the show. And the first string was a little difficult. I was very tight because I'm looking to get excited about bowling and also the crowd. But then you got to focus on bowling. And, I had a tough competitor. I never take Joe Stella for granted because he is a competitor. And to see what happened to him today, he just didn't get the breaks. And I got the breaks. I took advantage of them. And
how much, Bart, how much pressure is it to now, there's hundreds of your students and former students watching. You got to come on and at least do a decent job, which, of course, you did.
Well, the major thing that you're going to find in me is I'm going to have a good time. I'm going to have fun. Whether I bowl, 400, whether I bowl 200, I'm going to have a good time. I need to have fun. Keep the fun in the game because it's a game. And we want to make sure that the kids don't get upset, don't get angry, and don't get disappointed in the game because it's a fun game for all ages.
We've got to get you to come out of your shell, though, one of these days.
He's a little shy, isn't he?
Yeah, this is fun. But you guys, Dick, you produce a great show. This is a wonderful show, wonderful opportunity. It's a dream come true for me. You guys do a great job at this show, and I'm really very thrilled, very happy to be here.
That's great, Bart. Thanks very much. We'll see you next week.
There you go.
Bart Maderios,
See you, Bart.
Our winner here this afternoon, 358 to 290 over Joe Stella, and up the ladder we go.
Yes, it doesn't get any easier. Chris Sargent next week, and if he's lucky or at least fortunate to beat him, then of course it's Sean Baker. So roll up your sleeves and buckle your chin straps.
We'll look forward to seeing you as well next week when Bart Maderios takes on Chris Sargent. Here at Leda Lanes for Candlepin Stars and Strikes, for Mike Moran and our entire crew, I'm Dick Lutz. We'll see you next time on Candlepin Stars and Strikes.